Órale. The barrio love oldies, that kind. Órale.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is I, of course, your girl, Miss Crystal Marie, from Barrio Love Oldies, right here on the Barrio Love Oldie podcast on episode number 15. Super excited for tonight's interview, especially. We have none other than Shelly Boo. She is a vinyl collector and vinyl spinner. I got to meet her at the Pinta Estilo's first annual art exhibit. She is just as beautiful on the inside as outside. So it's an honor to have you here with me tonight. So thank you so much for your time. How are you?
I'm good, girl.
Yeah? I know, and you just celebrated your birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you, yes. 650, God help me.
Oh, you still look fabulous. I would have never guessed that you are 50. You look amazing, girl. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. So, I know you are, you are preparing on also going on vacation. So you're on your way out right now as we speak. You're getting ready to go on vacay. How do you feel about that? You excited?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. I've never flown. This is my first time ever doing, anything out of LA. So, for my husband and I. So it'll be our first experience together. So we're pretty excited.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. Are you guys going by yourselves, like as a couple, or with family and friends?
Yeah, we're going by ourselves. I mean, we opened it up for people to come, but it just happened that it just, it was meant for him and me to experience this together by ourselves. So
yes, that's so beautiful. Like, just get lost together, huh?
Yeah, our own schedule, just nobody's schedule, and just have our own experiences together. Our own little moments.
For sure. Well, let's go ahead and get right into the interview. I'm super excited. Let's start with, where were you born and where were you raised, girl?
So I was born at Kaiser Hospital in Bellflower.
Okay.
Where I just, I just grew up different cities, Norwalk, Pico, but more through my late child going into teens. I grew up in Santa Fe Springs. And, I've been there since then. I grew up there and then, got married, and now I've been in Downey, Norwalk for the last 15, 16 years. So it's always just been local.
Nice.
Here, but Santa Fe Springs is my home.
What was your upbringing like growing up right there you said Santa Fe is where you grew up?
Yeah, Santa Fe Springs. I mean, I grew up with both my parents. I still do. They're still married, 50 years. I didn't have a bad childhood, I could say, no. But yeah, we were just like your basic middle class family. My dad always worked, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And then, I had my two siblings, my sister and my brother. And yeah, I mean, my dad was always a hard worker, loved us unconditionally, but he would have his little drinking. So those points, maybe later in childhood, it got a little rough because it just got, where we noticed that he drank and stuff like that. But he just always, music was just always my little getaway, But, I mean, I didn't have, a bad childhood. Other than that, I mean, my dad, he's the best. But he had his, they're party. They're young parents. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just us five. And then, my sisters and I are 5 years apart. And then me and my brother were a year and a half. And then he passed away. So that was just a lot of trauma for our family for a while.
How many siblings do you have?
I have one sister. She's 5 years younger than me. And then my brother, he would be, how old would he be? 49. So he passed away. So it's been 30 years now, maybe.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, my baby brother. So, yeah.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Only my two siblings.
Yeah. And so your environment, who liked music? Like, I know you said you were talking about like that,
You know,
music was your little hideaway, but who liked music that much in your home
my
that you?
parents, like, I just grew up, like, they'd have those big old, those stereo things that came in like the glass case, the big old fancy things, and we just always had family parties, or their friends would come over. It was just, you know, I just remember the records like Prince, and we had Journey, like all genres of music. And so my dad would they would have a big old party, and then we would be like, I would just like hear them and see them, and I'd be like, man, like they just play records and just dance, and like they just looked free.
Yeah.
And so even just cleaning the house, or like my dad would be working on the house or outside, or we just like always had different kinds of music playing like all the time. So my mom and dad always played music.
Yeah.
And but they had it all.
And do you remember like what kind of music you grew up listening to, like with your family?
Yeah, like I know they liked like, oh God, Journey, Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac, Prince, Madonna. My mom loved Madonna. The Time, just mostly like disco, old school,
Yeah.
Oldies. They just always would play that. And remember the Michael Jackson? They had this Michael Jackson record, and it was the one of him in like his yellow vest and the white.
Oh yeah.
That was like off the wall, my favorite record, and I was just like, I'm gonna get that. And I remember one birthday, I forgot what birthday it was, probably like my 14th birthday, they bought me a record player, and my dad gave me that record.
Oh wow! Was that your first record?
My first record on my little record player back then, yeah, I remember, was Lisa Nicole Jam.
Ooh!
Yeah. But back then, it was just like, oh, well, it's just like a record player, wow, But now I'm just like, dang, I wish I would have kept, like, those vinyls that they bought. I mean, I would just play in my room, like, just playing a record.
Yeah, for sure.
But they always had music playing, like, all the time.
Do you, talking about that, like, it's so crazy how, like, when you're growing up, you don't know the value of your records. Now it's like, dang, why did I not take care of that record, or why did I not keep it? Or do you go through the same thing?
Yes, I would tell I remember like my mom and dad kept their records forever, like VH tapes, right? They just saved everything. And so when I started getting more like into like collecting, I was like, Mom, remember you had like a drawer full of records? And my dad was like, nope, she threw them all away. And I'm like, oh, you know how much I paid for the Time records? Like now I paid like
You're like, I'm looking for these records.
And I'm like, you threw them away? Like, oh my gosh. She goes, I know. Now that I think about it and how you've grown to love it, I didn't think about it. They were just like, oh, it's taking them space. I'm just never going to play them. Like, throw them away. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think that's like the hardest part is like when you have that regret, like, dang, like I didn't value that, or I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I wish I would have asked sooner, right?
Yeah, or if you didn't know.
Like that.
Yeah, you would have known that you would grow that passion back. So, yeah, I wish you would have kept all those records.
Yeah. So how do you feel that you were introduced to oldies? Like, that was because your parents, like, you just grew up listening to that because your parents, your family?
Yeah, just to that. But then, I mean, I would listen to, like, Barbara Mason and, Mary Wild, like, those little oldies before. And then, which I thought were like, oh, my God, these are, like, the bomb, right? So, when I met my husband, he's always been like a music guru. Like, he knows every freaking song.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like,
and oldies are just like all genres?
Both. Because
really?
my mother-in-law is the one that really grew my love for oldies more, because she grew up, in Norak Records. So she was buying records since she was 12 years old from them.
Wow.
At Norak Records. So she knew the owners, like, the family, like everything. So when she would get money, she would go buy records. She would tell me every weekend, I would just go buy records. And she had an older sister that had cancer, but she couldn't, like, she had lost part of her limb, so she would tell me, I never forget the story, and she would tell me, like, yeah, we'd have a record player, and she loved her oldies, and I would just get up, and I would change records, and we listened to music all day, so that grew her love, so she taught me, like, so much more, like, opened up a whole new world of oldies, because I just knew those little, not that they're little, but I only knew, like, Barbara Mason, the common ones. She was like, to this day she has like cabinets, shelves full. I'm like, girl, you need to give me some to go spin.
So does your husband love oldies as much as your mother-in-law?
Oh, yeah, both of them. And he grew up with music his whole life too.
So we should have been interviewing him as well.
Yes, or my mother-in-law too. She's like the oldies group. Yeah, I mean, from Rare to Motown to, every record. And I'll be like, I'll sing the song and she'll be like, oh my God, this is who the group is. And I'm like, oh, and then she'll go pull the record. Yeah.
She's your personal Shazam. You know that app where...
Yeah, I would be like, oh my God, my Shazam on her playlist. But she really got me, going, getting more into the music and, the love for it. And she still plays it till this day. Like, she'll play her thumb drives in her truck or wherever at. She'll bring her little ghetto blasters, and she has a record player too, but she mostly taught me, the love for oldies more.
Wow. And so that was after you met your husband. When you met your husband, is that one of the things that like connected you guys, is like for like the love of music, like you already loved oldies, and then
I think it was just we both liked music, but we just I just connected us somehow. But then his family's always been like involved in music. So like my brother-in-law, they'd be DJing like 17 years old, so they always had music playing too. So it'd be like, he's like, Michelle, come on, you want to learn how to spin? Like play some house? I'm like, no, I don't want to do any of that. He's like, you got to learn someday. And I'm like, no, I'll just play the record and let me dance. And their family, from his aunt to his cousins, like they all, grew up with music. So when they, they teach me or they tell me like, oh, listen to this or send me songs, I'm just like, dang, man. I guess they're like a wide book of tales of oldies that they have. So yeah, my mother-in-law's really got me growing my love for it more.
So that's interesting. So do you feel like before your mother-in-law, you were just kind of like more into like your more common oldies, and then your love for more of the rare soul grew because of your mother-in-law?
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, Alphonics and Love Lights, out of my favorites, my all-time favorites. But then I would hear hers, and she would be like, no, like, you gotta listen to, Bobby Womack and the Shay Shays and, like, all these different other, like, the Four Tops. Now, the Four Tops, she would be like, oh, girl, these groups got some really good ones. And, and she would just teach me different kinds of different oldies, too, or, her different, she doesn't like just the same doo-wop ones either. She'd be like, get over that now. You got to get into something else. And I'm like, all right. But, yeah, her and my husband will always be like, no, come on, like, you got to listen to this now or play this, just always be different. You got to play from your heart. You don't want to play what everybody else is playing out there or, trying to catch up to play what they got. You play from your heart, and that's, when people feel your heart, your beat for the music,
Yeah, for sure.
And
that is so true. Yeah.
It gets you through those times.
Yeah, for sure. I always say that. I feel like in every interview that's one thing that is always brought up is like how music does help you get through so many things. And not only helps you get through so many things, but I feel like I always say like music is an enhancer, right? So like it'll enhance whatever you're feeling at that moment. Or for example, like myself, like there's certain records that I play that, in certain times of my life, because me, like when I love a certain song or a record, I have it on, I'm like playing it over and over and over and over.
Yep.
And for example, it's not like oldies, right? But you know who Kali Uchis is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I love her. I love her. And when we bought our house this year, I was bumping her a lot, like her record, her actually her record that she had just came out with. And I was telling my husband, I go, it's so funny because this record will always, make me remember like when we first bought our house. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like it all will always either help you get through something or will always take you back to some of the most beautiful memories you can ever have.
It takes to that moment, and then those tears of joy come.
Yeah.
And that there's tears of sorrow. So, and it's a good cry. Sometimes it's a good to pull that song out and just cry it out. But I mean, a lot of songs have like really like have been that repeat, and I have to be like, okay, I'm having a day. Let me just listen to this song right now.
Yeah.
But my will be different, and I'll just be like, what am I feeling today? But it does. It's helped me like so much. Even back in the day, all the girls would go clubbing, and me and my best friend, like even to this day, we would be like, all we wanted to do was go to the boulevard, sit in the car, and like bump music. Whether it was like Zap or our oldies, we feel so free, It's just like we didn't need to be like, out there like that. We just wanted to be listening to our music and just chilling,
Yeah, for sure. When did you start collecting vinyl yourself? Like, so when did you start going up?
I would say probably maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know, I just started like wanting to like play records again. So, I just told my husband, I don't know. I want to do, I want to start playing again, like just in the house for fun, for like getting collection going. And he's like, okay, yeah. So I was looking on OfferUp for like a record player, I wanted to get those. I don't know the brand. I forgot the brand. It starts with a V, but.
What are they? The Victoria or yeah.
So for I think it was like 2 years ago for my birthday, he bought me one, and I was like, oh my god! I was like ecstatic over my record player. I was just like, oh my god. So it's probably been like 2 years ago. I just started like playing, and like I couldn't even play no more. And he's like, Dave, like you're playing one by one, like really, like invest in turntables. I'm like, no, like I'm not like a spinner like that. He's like, so what? It's just for us at home. Yeah. So I have bought my first turntables this year, so now I have them, here at home. So now it's like, my collection is just, So now I'm just like, I just want records. That's all I want is records. Yeah. Day or just like, during the week, I just put on my records and just play for a while.
Yeah. Why do you think, I think especially anybody listening, right? And, I keep in mind, we do have collectors that listen. We have some people that are just like music enthusiasts or just simply love oldies, right? So, with so much technology, maybe for somebody who's not a heavy collector or that, likes to collect, why do you feel that people gravitate more towards vinyl with so many resources now that we have available at the palm of our hand, like Spotify, YouTube? Like why? Because it's, you gotta go look for these records. Not only that, you're gonna go spend money. You're gonna go. Why vinyl for you? Because everyone has their own reason, but for you, why vinyl?
I think it's just more, I have like control of it. So, I can play what I want. I don't have to, wait for someone to play it or go hear them play it. Or, if I just want to bump a record, I could bump a record. But, vinyl, it's just always, like, brought memories for me, I guess, because my family, those were, like, happy times. And it was hard. It was hard to collect a record. Even for my parents to buy a record back then, it was still expensive. And even now, I think it's just more of an appreciation for it because it's diminishing, because, everybody DJs now, they don't do turntables no more. Everything's like digital. And, it's like, man, you don't play vinyls like the DJ no more. And so a lot of DJs, 50%, 90% of them don't even play vinyl no more.
Yeah. Why do
I
you
think
think that is? But do you think it has anything to do with like maybe like preserving? Like, no.
preserving, either
Yeah, because
that,
it's expensive. You know, it is
yeah,
pricey. You know.
I think it's that, and I think it's just the whole lugging around of it. You know, I remember it was
Yeah.
me, my brother-in-law, my husband will be go helping. I'm like, you know, they have to carry cases of records, and then plus their speakers, and then their turntable. So, I mean, I guess I don't want to say they lost the love of vinyl, but I think it's just maybe easy access for them, maybe. But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I have one friend, DJ Renato. Probably everybody knows him, but he gets so mad. He'll be like, I hate digital and blah, blah, blah. He's like, don't ever get a digital, nothing. I'm like, no, but he's like, you got to interview him. He is just like, wow, like a treasure chest of music. So I go to his house. It's like a museum. So he's like, yeah, when you come back, I'm just going to teach you the beats per minute. You know, you got to learn how. I'm like, no, I don't want to just learn more than just putting a needle to a record. You know, you got to know and you got to mix. And I'm like, I guess so, but I just want to play from my heart. Just shoot it out.
Yeah, and I think like what I love about it is like how everyone has their own style of music that they love to select. You know, like not one, like everyone has their unique style of music that they like and that of records that they purchase, right? Because you're purchasing records of songs that you like, right? So that's like your style. And I think it's always fun, and I love being able to listen to somebody play their set because it's always different.
Yes, always different. And then you always think like, man, mine's going to suck, but then it'll be like, you know, people are like, oh my God, I was waiting to hear that one, or, you know. So, you know, when you get that playlist together, it's very nerve-wracking, but, you know, that's the advice they would always do.
Yeah, so, you know, like for somebody who's like listening now, like who wants to get into like collecting vinyl or, you know, what do you feel is like the basic, you know, if somebody's like, well, I want to start collecting vinyl, I want to start, you know, playing or doing events or even just for my family, you know, how you were saying, like, I just want to play for my house or for my family. What do you feel that like are good, if you were to explain like, okay, step 1, step 2, like what's step 1 to even start collecting or to even get into that scene?
I think it's just, you know, worrying about the collection you want to build, you know. I mean, everybody has, you know, what their own style, you know. So it's just like you start out just buying what you feel, what your heart is, and, you know, you start learning to intermix, you know, other styles, you know, with what you have. But I mean, start small, you know. You don't have to go and buy like 100 records and all these big old turntables and these things, but it's just starting small, you know, and just growing from there, you know. You just have that one little record player, and sometimes that's all you need. And then, you know, passion learns, you know, your love for it grows more, and then you grow with it, you know. So just not jumping far ahead and, you know, trying to get so much at one time, you know, because it is expensive. But, you know, like with me, I just started like my little collection and just, you know, you build a little budget, and sometimes there's some that you can get and you have to get as you see them. So, you know, it's just starting small and just going your own pace.
Yeah, and I always tell everybody, this is what I tell everybody, look, you're going to start collecting vinyl, first and foremost, like, I know, like, when I started, I was buying the records that I like, for the songs that I like, that move me, you know what I mean? And that's how I started, like, if it moves me, it's going to, you know, move anybody that's, like, listening, right? So, those are, like, for me, I had to be okay with my playlist, like what the records I was purchasing, and I would be in love with my records that I didn't do it for people. I didn't do it with the mind of, hey, I'm buying this record even though I don't like it, I'm going to buy it because somebody else might like it. It was more like, hey, when I'm playing for you, I'm playing you what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I feel is yeah, like, and I think that's the beautiful thing because you're sharing a part of your heart. You're sharing a part of your love, and that's love because you went, invested finances in this record, you showed up to play. Like, I always say music is the purest form of love. Like,
It is.
So, yeah,
It
I agree.
is because you get lost in the moment, or it takes you somewhere, and it's just like, man, let me just soak in that memory right there for a little bit.
Yep, for sure. And what do you feel like? So, when did you start like going to go spin? Do you remember the first time you got invited to go spin?
Oh my God, yes. So, Beatrice Chicana 62, she was at the event with us. She was hosting her first event last year at Eola Bar. And she was doing like an all girls lineup, and I was like, cool, yeah, like I'm gonna go support you. But I had been spinning already, and she would tell me like, you're gonna come one time. I said, nah, I'm not big time like you guys yet. I'm just a little rookie. I'm just for fun. Like, I'm not out here to be like a spinner with a name or anything like that. She started laughing. She goes, no, I always told you, play from your heart. And so she always knew I was like collecting and stuff. So then she's like, hey, I'm hosting this event. I want you to play. And I'm like, heck no. Like, no way. Like, against, like so many, known girls out there that were spinning. And she's like, it's not about that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Come on, just do it. And I was like, oh my God. And so I had to go invest in some records because, I only had like my little ones that I had already.
Yeah.
And my husband, we went hunting, and then I practiced like all week, like every day. I was in the order to make sure I knew what I was going to play.
Yeah.
So I heard it. And then it was the first one up, so I was just like, oh God. But no, like it ended up like, it was after that first spin, I was just like, okay. And then you see the people moving to it, and and your friends and family are there to support you, so But like my first one ever, last year, Barry.
Wow, that's so cool. And how did you feel afterwards? Like, how did you feel like after you did your first set? Was that like
so happy? I was just like,
I
was just probably like a little high, I was just like, man, okay, what am I gonna play next? Like,
you're like,
having my own little party spinning, and I just felt like, wow, like, okay, that's all it took, but it's very intimidating, because you have other girl spinners out there, and they've been doing it and collecting like, like a long time. But I'm always open for like advice. I always ask questions, and luckily I've had some of my good friends that would help give me advice, and and it's just, I don't think I've met like anybody that hasn't been like so nice, because we're all in it for the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Just paying for love, But I mean, it's something that I won't say it's a hobby, but I like doing it, and there's always girls out there to look onto and get from,
Yeah, and I feel like it's just, the amazing thing about it is like you're constantly inspired, right? Like it's like I mean, I don't see like I feel like even at that event, right? So I'll reference because we were both there at the Pinta Estilo event. Like to me, that was just so inspiring how all of you guys got together and all brought something different, but you felt the love coming from those turntables. Like, I'll say this because my husband, he's a very quiet man. And he doesn't really opinionate much, or he doesn't really have anything to say. But one thing he did say is he goes, now I understand when you say like, you can feel, and I think maybe because it was also like one, like, like a more intimate event, so he was able to be up close, he was just like, you definitely felt the love. Like, that's all I felt. Like, I felt like their love through the turntables, and I was like, yeah, like, it's true, because it's just, I feel like anything you do, right? Anything. If you do it with love, you're gonna feel it, you know. And it's a beautiful thing. You get inspired. I know I definitely was inspired. And you know, I'm a scary cat, so I have records, but I won't go.
Girl.
So I'm super
Yes,
scared.
you're
I'm
gonna
like,
have to now.
huh?
You're gonna have to now. So now you have to
I
say.
know, right? Yeah, but
It was very, very intimate, and I feel like when you know the girl spinners have that same vibe, like it's just like, yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and there's no competition. You know, it wasn't like,
wow.
you know, we looked down on one another or nothing like that. I think it was just because it started from you guys. You guys gave us that vibe, like very welcoming from like day one, and you know, your cousin is just like a beautiful person too. And just knowing their story and what they're doing it for, it was like, man, of course we're going to do it even more. Like, this is a beautiful thing that this couple's doing, you know, under the circumstances. And like, how could we not help? You know, it was just a good vibe there. There was no bad vibe, no drama. I was like, yeah, this is a drama right here.
Yeah, and I know she was super grateful that you guys got together and, you know, were able to show up because if you're listening and you're probably a little lost wondering, like, what we're talking about, we were at an event together that was actually put on by Pinta Estilo, and this event was to raise finances or donations for jackets, beanies, and gloves to give to the kids. And the beautiful thing about this is that they were also helping incarcerated, those that are incarcerated sell their artwork so that those that are doing the artwork can give back to either themselves or their families, right? The school's right around the corner. A lot of these guys are fathers. And, you know, just being able to create an event where they can go and feel like a provider, right? And sell a little painting and give that back to their wives or their kids and here's some pair of shoes, you know what I mean? So it just gives them an identity and also being able to be a financial support to their family through something legal, right? Through art, through their talent.
Yeah.
So that's the event that we were at, but it is true. Like, it's just so amazing how, you know, these guys, right, and, you know, are in the worst situation possible, but they still, all those artists submitted that artwork, you know what I mean? They were still able, and then not only that, but they also, a part of the contribution went to help their mission, which was to give back. So they were all together, and it was just an amazing event, and I'm so happy that you guys showed up. I know Liz and Husky were very excited about that.
It was very, like I said, I had fun spinning that day. It was just like, I mean, all the girls were just, you know, when you come together like that in unity to do something, it makes the spinning even better, you know.
Yeah, and Bree, remember, she's the one that put that together. So shout out to Bree.
Little Miss Bree.
Little Miss Bree. She whipped that up real quick. She was like, "Don't worry, I got you."
Yep. She's always hold an event. So and you know, working with her is always spinning with her is always a little joy too. So yeah.
So thank you guys so much. All the ladies that showed up were super appreciative. I did want to ask, and so I know you went to your first event spinning. What has vinyl spinning gotten you into? Have you spinned anywhere else? Are you a resident anywhere or?
No, honey, not a resident yet. Maybe when I retire, but I've done a little like little car shows here and there, you know. With the Sisters of Soul, so they had, you know, they invite us to come play. So I think that's the last time I played was then. So everybody's just kind of like on a little break right now, I guess.
Okay, nice.
It's good. It gives time to shop and relax and look for more records. So
yeah, for sure.
It's too hot out there to be spinning anyway.
Yeah, it's been so hot. It's been so crazy hot. Well, hopefully you get into so many more events to come. Do you have my last question is out of your whole collection, well, my second to my last question, but we're getting to wrap it up. Out of your whole collection, what's your favorite go-to?
Oh gosh. I would say the Love Lights. I think they I don't know. It's just that they, you know, all their songs. The Love Lights is like that's my go-to, like all the time. So I'll always pick the Love Lights.
Do you have a specific record that you hold dear and close to your heart?
You know, I would say, gosh, I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah. The same. There's too many.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, my favorite of all time, that's like me and my husband is, you know, Patty Drew, Tell Him That I Love Him. That's like, that's like my I cried.
Oh.
But, that's like my go-to record is that one, Tell Him.
Nice.
He's been my rock, you know, and we've been together 28 years, so.
Oh my gosh, 28 years?
Yeah, 28
wow.
years, so. You know, I think that record and him, because, you know, he's gotten me through a lot, you know, my support and music has gotten me through my support, so. Yeah, I mean, that's just because I think of him all the time, I guess. I don't know.
One thing that I do want to say, I'm laughing because I would have never guessed that. And the reason why, it's because, you know, at the event, I mean, you could have fooled me that you guys are just boyfriend and girlfriend, how close your connection is. And it's so, you know, to know that you guys been married that long, but to be able to still have that connection and, you know, admired, right? Like, be admired, because I'm like, oh my God, they're so cute together. I would have thought you guys were just dating or something.
No, girl. I think we actually like each other now, you know, but
yeah.
I mean, yeah, we've been together through our 20s, 30s, 40s, now 50s, you know, so.
Oh my goodness.
You know, he's, you know, other than my parents, he's been my rock, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think
sure.
that would be my theme song, my favorite song, and that's one of my favorite records, but yes.
Oh, him. Yeah. Okay. And that leads to my last question, and my last question is, give me 1 sec. I'm going to have to re-ask that because somebody was calling on the other line. My last question is, what is the best advice that you have for the next generation of upcoming vinyl collectors, or, you know, anybody that wants to get into collecting? I know we kind of touched on that, but any advice from you?
I would just say, you know, always play from your heart and your gut. Like, that's like the first rule that I was always taught and told, is just play from your heart, you know, and don't worry about, you know, the naysayers. When you're playing, you just focus on your records and, you know, your heart. You know, that's what you're going to portray to, you know, your event, your people. And it's just being yourself, you know, just being yourself, having heart. And that's where you're going to get, you know, it's going to take you places. As long as you have your heart, you're good to people, and, you know, you're just out there just to help people.
That's beautiful. Yeah, for sure. Well, Shelly, I want to thank you so much for today. That was beautiful advice. I know you are getting ready for your vacay, girl, so I don't want to keep you long.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. I really enjoyed spending time with you, and, you know, definitely having you, you know, on and sharing your story with us. That's the fun part of what I do, is just hearing everybody's story and just knowing how much your mother-in-law, you know, influenced you to, you know, like collect more and get more into, you know, the rare soul sound. So that's amazing, and how your husband had such a big part of that as well. So Thank you so
Yes.
much for sharing that with me. Any last words?
No, just thank you for having me, and I just pray from my heart, love people, and yeah, that's it. And I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll get more experience doing this a little bit more, but thank you so much for the opportunity, and for being you, and you being so awesome and loving to us and open and getting our stories out there. So you're awesome as well.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a great time with your husband on your vacation. Happy birthday once again. I'm sending you a lot of love. And I hope you have a lot of fun. Please be safe.
Yes.
And that does conclude episode number 15. It's your quinceañera, girl.
Ooh. Ooh, yeah. My 50, but I'm 15, honey.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Well, that does conclude episode number 15 with none other than Shelly Boo, and we'll catch you on the flip side.